So there I was, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, a newly minted rideshare driver in Melbourne, Florida. I envisioned myself cruising along the coast, sun shining, picking up interesting people, making some extra cash. The reality, as it often does, turned out to be slightly less glamorous. My first few rides were uneventful, mostly retirees heading to the early bird special at the local diner. Little did I know, my rookie status was about to be tested. One sweltering afternoon, my app pinged with a ride request from a motel on the outskirts of town. Perfect, I thought. A short hop, easy money. I pulled up to the motel, a slightly faded establishment with a flickering neon sign, and waited. A young woman emerged, looking slightly frazzled, with a cat carrier in one hand and a mountain of luggage in the other. This, my friends, is where the fun began. The young woman, whose name I learned was Tiffany, finally squeezed into the front seat, mittens perched precariously on her lap. I cautiously pulled away from the motel, the car groaning under the weight of its cargo. "So," I asked, trying to make small talk, "where are we headed?" Tiffany gave me an address, a location about 20 minutes away. Easy peasy, I thought. This might not be so bad after all. We hadn't even gone a mile when Tiffany suddenly exclaimed, "Oh, wait! I forgot something!" I groaned inwardly. We turned around and headed back to the motel, where Tiffany retrieved a forgotten bag of toiletries. Mittens, meanwhile, seemed to find the whole situation highly amusing, her tail swishing back and forth. Back on the road again, I started to relax, thinking we were finally on our way. Wrong again. 10 minutes later, Tiffany announced, "You know what? I think I gave you the wrong address. I need to go somewhere else." I resisted the urge to bang my head against the steering wheel. This was turning into a comedy of errors. I entered the new address into my GPS, and we were off again, the car now resembling a mobile flea market. Mittens, sensing my frustration, let out a soft meow, as if to say, "Buckle up, buddy, this is going to be a long ride." She was right. Navigating through Melbourne with a car packed to the brim was a challenge, to say the least. Every turn felt like a potential disaster, with luggage shifting precariously. I could practically hear the vintage records complaining. At one point, a particularly sharp turn sent a box tumbling onto the floor, spilling its contents, a collection of brightly colored wigs. Tiffany, oblivious to the chaos in the back, cheerfully chatted about her plans, which seemed to involve traveling the country with her cat and her extensive collection of belongings. I listened politely, trying to maintain a semblance of composure while simultaneously preventing a full-blown luggage avalanche. I couldn't help but wonder what kind of life Tiffany led that required her to carry around so much stuff. Was she a professional clown, a traveling salesman for wigs, or maybe just a hoarder with a penchant for cats? The possibilities were endless, and my imagination ran wild. As I navigated the increasingly congested streets, I started to develop a strange sense of camaraderie with Mittens. We were both trapped in this absurd situation, victims of Tiffany's nomadic lifestyle. We exchanged knowing glances, united in our shared misery. Section 4. Destination Debacle. A moving target in a moving car. Just when I thought things couldn't get any weirder, Tiffany announced for the third time that she needed to change her destination. Actually, she said, "I just realized I need to go to my friend's house first. She has something I need to pick up." I stared at her in disbelief. Was this woman serious? I pulled over to the side of the road, resisting the urge to scream into the void. I updated the destination in my GPS, my patience wearing thin. Mittens, bless her furry little heart, seemed to be enjoying the show, watching me with a look of detached amusement. As we drove towards the new destination, the sky began to darken ominously. The wind picked up, and the palm trees swayed violently. Great, I thought, just what we needed, a hurricane. Florida weather, always adding a dramatic flair to an already chaotic situation. I glanced at Tiffany, who seemed unfazed by the impending storm. She continued to chat about her travels, her voice barely audible over the rising wind. I, on the other hand, was starting to feel like a character in a particularly bizarre road trip movie. Section 5. Hurricane Havoc. When it rains, it pours, literally. The rain started as a light drizzle, then quickly escalated into a torrential downpour. The windshield wipers struggled to keep up, and visibility was near zero. The wind howled, and the car rocked back and forth, making the precarious stack of luggage even more unstable. Tiffany, seemingly oblivious to the chaos around her, continued to narrate her life story. I listened with half an ear, my attention focused on navigating the treacherous roads and preventing a luggage landslide in the back seat. Mittens, surprisingly, remained calm, curled up in her carrier, seemingly unperturbed by the storm raging outside. As we finally pulled up to Tiffany's friend's house, the rain was coming down in sheets. I quickly jumped out of the car, grabbed an umbrella, and helped Tiffany unload her belongings. The wind whipped the rain around us, soaking us to the bone. Tiffany's friend, a woman with bright pink hair and multiple piercings, greeted us at the door. She handed Tiffany a small package, which Tiffany carefully placed in her already overflowing bag. I couldn't help but wonder what precious cargo this package contained. Drugs? Stolen jewels? A rare species of butterfly? The mystery remained unsolved. Section 6. Aftermath Antics. Cat hair, confessions, and car washes. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, Tiffany and her mountain of luggage were gone. I sat in my car, drenched and exhausted, surrounded by a sea of cat hair and the lingering scent of cheap perfume. I took a deep breath, trying to process the surreal experience I had just endured. I spent the next hour cleaning my car, meticulously removing every last strand of cat hair and rearranging the remaining debris. As I vacuumed the back seat, I couldn't help but laugh at the absurdity of it all. It was a rideshare experience I would never forget, a story I would tell for years to come. Later that evening, as I recounted the tale to my friends, I realized that despite the chaos and frustration, there was something strangely amusing about the whole ordeal. It was a reminder that life is full of unexpected twists and turns, and sometimes, the most memorable experiences are the ones that go completely off the rails. And as for Mittens, the stoic feline companion who witnessed the entire debacle, I have a sneaking suspicion that she secretly enjoyed the ride, a silent observer of the human comedy unfolding before her. Perhaps, somewhere out there, Tiffany and Mittens are still on the road, creating chaos and collecting cat hair in rideshare cars across the country.